I think we're live.
Good evening and welcome to Mountain Bears. I'm Mason Knight, and of course with me tonight is Techie Joe. How are you, darling?
I'm doing well. How are you this evening?
Oh, I'm amazing. Just taking over the world one party at a time.
Hey, there you go. So we are. It's going to be a very full evening for us this evening.
It is.
We have already done a 2-hour party, and we are getting ready to do this show.
Yep.
And then you have another 2-hour party.
Yep. And then another 2-hour party.
And then another 2-hour party. Yep. The fun doesn't stop.
Plus, take some network calls because I do plan on working tonight.
Oh, yeah.
I've got to keep everything together.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we'll get it all done. It'll get all done.
We will. So in our interview, we got some news of Sister Wives, which we've all been kind of watching and concerned there about.
Absolutely. So Mary Brown opened up in a new podcast appearance about how the estranged family is handling the death of Garrison Brown. It's been 3 months since the tragic death of Garrison Brown, the son of Sister Wives stars Kody Brown and Janelle Brown. Garrison died by suicide after a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. His family came together in March for his emotional funeral service despite years of estrangement and Kody and Janelle's 2022 split. In a new podcast interview, Mary Brown, Kody's first wife, who split from him in 2023, spoke about her ex and former sister wife in the wake of Garrison's death. Quote, I've talked to each of them, and I think there's good days and bad days. I don't know how there couldn't be. Mary said of Janelle and Kody on the Misunderstood with Rachel Uncle podcast, there's still times that I'll see a picture of Garrison and I'll be like, oh, I don't like that this happened. It's really sad, I feel so much for Janelle. I watched my mom lose 2 of her own kids before she passed. It's tragic. After news broke of Garrison's death, Kody, Janelle, and Mary released a joint statement about the loss. Our family is deeply saddened to announce the loss of our beautiful boy, Robert Garrison Brown. He was a bright spot in the lives of all who knew him. The post read on Instagram. This loss will leave such a big hole in our lives, and it takes our breath away. We ask that you please respect our privacy during this time and join us in honoring his memory. Garrison, you are loved and will be missed. So now that the family is split apart, with Christine Brown leaving Kody in 2021 and Robin Brown serving as the former polygamous only remaining wife, Mary shared on the podcast that she's not as close with her former sister wives as she once was. When I see them, we have cordial conversations, but I don't seek them out to have a relationship, Mary explained. I feel like I had a lot of time to be able to do that. In the past over a year since I've separated myself, Cody and I have separated and we're done. I have a lot of things that I'm working on in myself, and I think it's really, really important to be surrounded by the people that really encourage that. Mary was not invited to Christine's October 2023 wedding to David Woolley. Janelle and her children attended the festivities and continue to have a close bond with Christine even after their splits. You know what?
Yeah, but that had more to do with the history between the two of them.
Okay. So she goes on to say, you know what? I think it's awesome that Janelle and Christine are close, Mary said. They were not when we were all together. They were not for all those years. So whatever's made them close like that now, I think it's great. So as for her outlook on the Brown family breaking apart, Mary said she's come to terms with core unit splitting up. It's taken me a little bit to realize and just come to the understanding that it's okay. Some people are just in your life for a season, she shared. It's okay to let things go if the relationship is not reciprocal and it's not building me up or building them up. It's okay. Mary said she plans to date and that she wants a monogamous relationship, but due to her 2015 catfishing scandal, she's not keen on using a dating app. I'm not on all the dating apps. I really want to meet someone organically, she said.
You know, it might be good for her to contact that matchmaker that Christine used. I'm sure that Christine will share the contact.
I mean, that's a direction to go. But I can definitely understand why she's not wanting to hit all the apps again. Because
Right.
that seems fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure it's definitely been hard on the family with Garrison's passing. Like, it's been a lot of changes for him over the last 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
3 and some change, I think. Because 2021, 2022, 2023.
Yeah.
It's been a lot.
It's been a lot. And then, you know, I think that they'll all probably remain monogamous at least for a while. Well, I don't think anyone will date Cody because he's an asshole. Like, I would have just beat his ass.
I mean, to be determined, but it's going to make it interesting to keep trying to pull the sister wives thing if you don't have a sister for the
Right.
wife.
Well, I think you got the
Same.
sisters. You know, there are 3 original. I think work out really good as sibling sisters. And here's why. Janelle and Christine have always been close. They can go, oh, they weren't bullshit. They were trading kids off. They were sharing meals and cooking together, and one was taking care of kids as well as one was working.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't agree with Murray on they weren't close when they were sister was. I'm glad they're close now. Murray's always acted like the eldest, that's always distant and always like clapping in when they're needed to.
I mean, it's her take.
Right.
So,
what's your take? Because you hear me go off about this.
You know, I don't know. Like, I really don't. I know. I just know that they've been through a lot. And that was like the most recent sad note in all of it. Like,
right.
that's the horrible. Yeah. But I'm also starting to wonder if that's going to pretty much be the last note of that.
Well, we know they've got a season 19. Like, that's filmed in the books in the box. We just don't know what's after that. Now, she has started her own coaching career. Welcome to the field. Hope you do well. And her packages aren't that bad.
Yeah, definitely been excited for her to start coaching. I think that's a lovely next adventure.
Right.
Especially given everything that's gone on, I think that's a great next.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a nice one. Now, we did get an update on Princess Catherine. Finally, they did not say, because they, Kensington Palace said we wouldn't get any updates, but we did.
Mm-hmm. Well, first, before we jump into that, I do want to say, hey, Brenda.
Yes.
All right. So Kate Middleton shares update on her cancer and chemotherapy not out of the woods. So Catherine, Princess of Wales, said she is making good progress with her chemotherapy treatment in a rare public statement about her health. The former Kate Middleton revealed in March that she was diagnosed with cancer after a planned abdominal surgery in January. She shared that she was in the early stages of preventative chemotherapy at the time. Catherine's June 14th statement marks her first comments on her cancer treatment since announcing her diagnosis. She revealed that she has a few more months of chemotherapy left and that she has good days and bad days as she continues her treatment. So, accompanying her statement, the palace released a new picture of the princess. In the photo, she wears jeans and a tan blazer and looks pensive, standing against a tree. So, in her message, the princess thanked people for all the kind messages of support and encouragement she's received since March. I am making good progress, but as anyone going through chemotherapy will know, there are good days and bad days. On those bad days, you feel weak, tired, and you have to give in to your body resting. But on the good days, when you feel stronger, you want to make the most of feeling well, she said. Her treatment is ongoing and will continue for a few more months, she said. On the days I feel well enough, it is a joy to engage with school life, spend personal time on the things that give me energy and positivity, as well as starting to do a little work from home, the princess said in her June 14th statement. In closing, the princess shared that she is learning how to be patient, especially with uncertainty. Thank you so much for your continued understanding, and to all of you who have so bravely shared your stories with me, she said. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak reacted to the princess's statement with his own message of encouragement. The Princess of Wales statement will be especially meaningful to those who are fighting cancer and for their families, Sunak said on X June 14th. They will recognize the same struggle in her words and draw hope and inspiration from her strength. He added, I know the whole country is behind. So, yeah, she is expected to attend. So, Kate also confirmed that she will attend King Charles III's birthday parade, a ceremonial event known as Trooping the Color, with her family June 15th. She hopes to join a few public engagements over the summer, she said in the statement, adding, I am not out of the woods yet. Charles is delighted that the princess is able to attend tomorrow's events and is much looking forward to all elements of the day, a Buckingham Palace spokesperson said in a statement. Trooping the Color honors the king's birthday, though Charles's birth date is in November. The king will be at the June 15th celebration, Buckingham Palace confirmed to NBC News May 30th. Charles has also undergone treatment for cancer this year. The palace announced in February that the king had been diagnosed with an unspecified form of cancer. He returned to official public duties in April. Kate will attend Trooping the Color alongside her husband, Prince William, and 3 children, Prince George, 10, Princess Charlotte, 9, and Prince Louis, 6. They will arrive in a carriage down the mall, and she is also expected to make a balcony appearance. Kate did not attend the Colonel's review on June 8th, which serves as a dress rehearsal for Trooping the Color. The princess was named the honorary colonel of the Irish Guards in 2023, a role that involves representing the guardsmen at the Colonel's review. James Bucknell took this salute in Kate's place, and the princess sent a note to the Irish Guards apologizing for her absence. The princess has not participated in royal appearances since her family's annual Christmas church outing in 2023. Trooping the Color will be the first royal event she has attended since, though she previously took time to review a report from an initiative she's involved in, the Royal Foundation Business Task Force for Early Childhood, a senior palace aide confirmed in May. She has been working from home occasionally, including some meetings when she feels well enough. So, all right. And then we have the full statement of her.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm glad that she is at least updated. Now, maybe this will shut them up.
I mean, to some degree, yes. I think, being physically present is going to help.
Well, I feel it does, but I also feel like they have not given her any room, and I'm really almost annoyed with them, especially this vagabonds of California, their little cronies. It's like, give the woman room to heal.
Mm-hmm. And especially in her position, I think that's a more than reasonable request.
Right.
I mean, annoyingly, we expect more from King Charles, despite his cancer diagnosis. But I think for a princess with a cancer diagnosis, we can cut some slack and give some room.
Right. Insane. All right, you brought this article, and I'm like, really?
Yeah, I had a similar reaction there. I had to double check this one because I was like, this cannot be real. But it turns out to be. So the title of this one, and this is from Reuters, Pentagon ran secret anti-vax campaign to undermine China during pandemic. So at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, the U.S. military launched a secret campaign to counter what it perceived as China's growing influence in the Philippines, a nation hit especially hard by the deadly virus. The clandestine operation has not been previously reported. It aimed to sow doubt about the safety and efficacy of vaccines and other life-saving aid that was being supplied by China, a Reuters investigation found. Through phony internet accounts meant to impersonate Filipinos, the military's propaganda efforts morphed into an anti-vax campaign. Social media posts decried the quality of face masks, test kits, and the first vaccine that would become available in the Philippines, China's Sinovac inoculation. Reuters identified at least 300 accounts on X, formerly Twitter, that matched descriptions shared by former U.S. military officials familiar with the Philippines operation. Almost all were created in the summer of 2020 and centered on the slogan, China ang virus. Tag along for China is the virus. COVID came from China and the vaccine also came from China. Don't trust China. One typical tweet from July 2020 read in Tagalog. The words were next to a photo of a syringe beside a Chinese flag and a soaring chart of infections. Another post read, from China, PPE face mask, vaccine fake, but the coronavirus is real. After Reuters asked X about the accounts, the social media company removed the profiles, determining they were part of a coordinated bot campaign based on activity patterns and internal data. The U.S. military's anti-vax effort began in the spring of 2020 and expanded beyond Southeast Asia before it was terminated in mid-2021. Reuters determined, tailoring the propaganda campaign to local audiences across Central Asia and the Middle East, the Pentagon used a combination of fake social media accounts on multiple platforms to spread fear of China's vaccines among Muslims at a time when the virus was killing tens of thousands of people each day. A key part of the strategy, amplifying the disputed contention that because vaccines sometimes contain pork gelatin, China's shots could be considered forbidden under Islamic law. The military program started under former President Donald Trump and continued months into Joe Biden's presidency, Reuters found. even after alarmed social media executives warned the new administration that the Pentagon had been trafficking in COVID misinformation. The Biden White House issued an edict in spring 2021 banning the anti-vax effort, which also disparaged vaccines produced by other rivals, and the Pentagon initiated an internal review, Reuters found. The U.S. military is prohibited from targeting Americans with propaganda, and Reuters found no evidence the Pentagon's influence operation did so. Spokespeople for Trump and Biden did not respond to requests for comments about the clandestine program. A senior Defense Department official acknowledged the U.S. military engaged in secret propaganda to disparage China's vaccine in the developing world, but the official declined to provide details. A Pentagon spokeswoman said the U.S. military uses a variety of platforms, including social media, to counter those malign influence attacks aimed at the U.S., allies, and partners. She also noted that China had started a disinformation campaign to falsely blame the United States for the spread of COVID-19. In an email, the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that it has long maintained the U.S. government manipulates social media and spreads misinformation. Manila's embassy in Washington did not respond to Reuters' inquiries, including whether it had been aware of the Pentagon operation. A spokesperson for the Philippines Department of Health, however, said the findings by Reuters deserve to be investigated and heard by the appropriate authorities of the involved countries. Some aid workers in the Philippines, when told of the U.S. military propaganda effort by Reuters, expressed outrage. Briefed on the Pentagon's secret anti-vax campaign by Reuters, some American public health experts also condemned the program, saying it put civilians in jeopardy for potential geopolitical gain. An operation meant to win hearts and minds endangered lives, they said. I don't think it's defensible, said Daniel Lucy, an infectious disease specialist at Dartmouth's Geisel School of Medicine. I'm extremely dismayed, disappointed, and disillusioned to hear that the U.S. government would do that, said Lucy, a former military physician who assisted in the response to the 2001 anthrax attacks. The effort to stoke fear about Chinese inoculation risked undermining overall public trust in government health initiatives, including U.S.-made vaccines that became available later, Lucy and others said. Although the Chinese vaccines were found to be less effective than the American-led shots by Pfizer and Moderna, all were approved by the World Health Organization. Sinovac did not respond to a Reuters request for comment. Academic research published recently has shown that when individuals develop skepticism towards a single vaccine, those doubts often lead to uncertainty about other inoculations. Lucy and other health experts say they saw such a scenario play out in Pakistan when where the Central Intelligence Agency used a fake hepatitis vaccination program in Abbottabad as cover to hunt for Osama bin Laden, the terrorist mastermind behind the attacks of September 11, 2001. Discovery of the ruse led to a backlash against an unrelated polio vaccination campaign, including attacks on healthcare workers, contributing to the reemergence of the deadly disease in the country. It should have been in our interest to get as much vaccine in people's arms as possible, said Greg Treverton, former chairman of the U.S. National Intelligence Council, which coordinates the analysis and strategy of Washington's many spy agencies. What the Pentagon did, Treverton said, crosses a line. We were desperate. Together, the phony accounts used by the military had tens of thousands of followers during the program. Reuters could not determine how widely the anti-vax material and other Pentagon-planted disinformation was viewed, or to what extent the post may have caused COVID deaths by dissuading people from getting vaccinated. In the wake of the U.S. propaganda efforts, however, then Philippines President Rodrigo Duterte had grown so dismayed by how few Filipinos were willing to be inoculated that he threatened to arrest people who refused vaccinations. You choose vaccine or I will have you jailed, a masked Duarte said in a televised address in June 2021. There is a crisis in this country. I'm just exasperated by Filipinos not heeding the government. When he addressed the vaccination issue, the Philippines had among the worst inoculation rates in Southeast Asia. Only 2.1 million of its 114 million citizens were fully vaccinated, far short of the government's target of 70 million. By the time Duarte spoke, COVID cases exceeded 1.3 million and almost 24,000 Filipinos had died from the virus. The difficulty in vaccinating the population contributed to the worst death rate in the region. A spokesperson for Duarte did not make the former president available for an interview. Some Filipino healthcare professionals and former officials contacted by Reuters were shocked by the U.S. anti-vax effort, which they say exploited an already vulnerable citizenry. Public concerns about a Dengue fever vaccine rolled out in the Philippines in 2016 had led to broad skepticism toward inoculations overall, said Lulu Bravo, executive director of the Philippine Foundation for Vaccination. The Pentagon campaign preyed on those fears. Why did you do it when people were dying? We were desperate, said Dr. Nina Castillo Carandang, a former advisor to the World Health Organization and Philippines government during the pandemic. We don't have our own vaccine capacity, she noted, and the U.S. propaganda effort contributed even more salt into the wound. The campaign also reinforced what one former health secretary called a long-standing suspicion of China, most recently because of aggressive behavior by Beijing in disputed areas of the South China Sea. Filipinos were unwilling to trust China's Sinovac, which first became available in the country in March 2021, said Esperanza Cabral, who served as health secretary under President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Cabral said she had been unaware of the U.S. military's secret operation. I'm sure that there are lots of people who died from COVID who did not need to die from COVID, she said. To implement the anti-vax campaign, the Defense Department overrode strong objections from top U.S. diplomats in Southeast Asia at the time, Reuters found. Sources involved in its planning and execution say the Pentagon, which ran the program through the Military Psychological Operations Center in Tampa, Florida, disregarded the collateral impact that such propaganda may have on innocent Filipinos. We weren't looking at this from a public health perspective, said a senior military officer involved in the program. We were looking at how we could drag China through the mud. I just can't even go forward from that.
Please don't.
Like the rest of the
My
story.
blood pressure is going to blow the fuck up, okay? This is ridiculous. This is so past ridiculous. At least Biden put a stop to it. But this is ridiculous.
Well,
this
a couple
is
months
the
in.
calamity. Yeah, a couple months in.
That's...
I'll give you that. A couple months in. But why was it even done is what I've got. Okay.
I mean, yeah. Well, literally the comment was to drag China through the mud. Without caring
you drag them through the mud over their manufacturing. You drag them through the mud over their bad economics. You drag them through the mud over their high-priced bullshit. You don't drag them through the blood mud that you created.
Yeah.
And this wasn't just going to Filipino. Okay? This show, we hit worldwide. There's in a country we don't hit.
Well, maybe China.
No, we've got China. Give me a second.
I mean, this may be one show that definitely makes it to China.
This one will get suppressed because we're using COVID. So, guys, please do the likey, the shiny, the follies, the commenties. We're going to need that. We get analytics.
But no, I mean, and I'm not trying to make light of it. I'm really not. This was a horrible choice, and a very deadly one.
Yes.
I read it and went, this has to be, like, did the Onion decide to go a little nuts? Did the Onion news source or non-news satire source? Like, I read it and I was like, this can't be a real article. Yeah. And then I'm looking who it's from, and they're like, that's a real article. It's coming out from legitimate news sources. The article I was reading from, guys, is from MSN.com. It is apparently cross-posted on a few different sites. Probably a good thing for this article, because I'm sure that it is a giant black eye to the U.S. government. Because no.
Yes, 3% of our population is Chinese or come from the China.
And how many people forwarded it to family members? And how many Filipinos are in our market? And how many Filipinos forwarded this to family members? Like, how much of this tore through the world? Like, I understand governments have disinformation and propaganda campaigns, and for a variety of reasons. This was a public health crisis, not a launch pad.
All right, so I'm not bragging. I'm giving hard numbers. On average, we get 28,000 listens per show. Some do higher, some do lower. 5% of that, about 500 people, are Filipinos, according to our analytics.
500?
5%.
5%. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all I can say is as an American citizen, please know, we're horrified.
So on average,
straight up, we're horrified.
On average, 1,400 people, Filipinos, reaches this show. On average, we're horrified. I want heads. I want firing. I want terminations. I want demotions. I want blood.
I want this to never happen again. Like, yes. Again, there are a lot of things, like, there are a lot of reasons for propaganda campaigns. There are a lot of reasons for disinformation. I understand that as a tool of governments around the world against each other for any kind of gains and reasons and whatever. Not in an epidemic level or higher event. Never ever do you turn a disease and its vaccinations at any level into a propaganda tool. That's no. You're just killing innocent people that have nothing to do. Nothing to do.
Right.
With what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
You basically, took China down a peg, if you want to call it that, over the grave markers of Filipino citizens.
Right.
Like, that's there aren't words.
No.
So, and then on top of that, there's no telling how many other lives were lost.
Right.
Because again, this stuff gets shared out. Do you not understand how social media works? Do you not understand this could have easily been part of the U.S. problem with vaccination? That this is passing from people to other people to people in other countries to people around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it just keeps going. And exactly what they're saying, when you spread doubt about one vaccination, you also create it. And we already knew this. How many effing problems have we had out of one damn study? One. By a doctor who later took back everything he said in that study, making a link between vaccinations and autism. We have fucked up in the United States because of one doctor on one study and what he said, which was not what he is not true, does not happen, does not occur. We now have measles in the U.S. Near eradicated, declared eradicated, should not be a problem we have to face. The measles was virtually eradicated by the time I was born.
Mm-hmm.
By the year 2000, it was declared eradicated.
All right.
I was never supposed to, in my lifetime, think about measles unless I went to some underdeveloped country in the middle of nowhere. There might be a chance I could get measles because I'm there, but I should be okay. It is 2024, and I've had an measles MMR, measles booster. This was never supposed to happen in my lifetime.
What's even scarier is we currently have the manufacturers of medical equipment looking to see if they can recreate, because what hasn't been manufactured since what, the 1960s, 1970s, iron lungs.
Well, I mean, they're recreatable. I mean, the technology is fairly simple. It's just kind of a whole process to restart.
Right.
Like, you're going to have to build some shit.
Right. And reverse engineer it, because some of the things that were used, like some of the seals and stuff, are no longer made.
Yeah, they don't make those parts anymore.
Right.
Yeah. Like, and this is on the heels of, I believe, the last living original iron lung patient had just passed.
Right.
I mean, this is why we're saying this is abhorrent.
Right.
You do not do this. There is no political gain. There is no political gain that is worth lives in this manner.
Well, and I don't normally try to get political, but the man that authorized this, because he would have had to authorize this, is running for office, should be in jail.
And these should not be issues we are dealing with in 2024.
Exactly.
At all.
At all.
Not at all. Like,
this is ridiculous. This is at the level no, this is past ridiculous. Okay. Insanity. And if this is just coming out now, what else is there?
That's probably the more frightening question.
You know, why did a governor of Maryland use his National Guard as armed guards of a warehouse commandeer a non-government plane and take money out of his own pocket to buy supplies for his state. What is he not telling us was going on?
Yeah. Like it's well, and then or how much of it was all like how much of this is all interconnected?
Right.
How much of this is sewn out of that?
Right.
And sadly, there's no way to transition from this story to the next.
No, there isn't. There is no way to go to it. But this is a segment I thought we'd call Does Asen Agree with This Advice?
All right, so from the Chicago Tribune's Dear Amy column. Dear Amy, I am very close with my oldest sister. Her daughter is planning to marry a woman many years younger than her. I don't believe in same-sex weddings, nor do I have any desire to attend this wedding. My children feel the same way. The wedding is out of town with many expenses involved. I hate to travel and have many obligations in town, including owning my own business. Amy, my sister is not taking no for an answer. How do I get out of this wedding without creating a rift in our relationship? Want to stay peaceful. Want to stay peaceful. I gather that you have already offered up all your various excuses, and so now all you have left is the truth. You don't want to go to this wedding because you refuse to attend a same-sex wedding ceremony. And so first, a public service announcement about excuses. When you make one, you really need to commit to it. Lean in. Think Al Pacino in Son of a Woman or Meryl Streep in, well, anything. Because you seem to be throwing various excuses at the wall in hopes that one will stick. I'm concluding, and your sister will too, that you are flailing around trying to obscure your own truth, which is that you hold a particular prejudice, but you seem too embarrassed to own it. Because this is your truth, and because your beloved sister's truth is that she loves and accepts her daughter, there is no way you can get out of this wedding without creating a rift. You can only hope that your sister is more tolerant of your truth than you are of hers, and that she will forgive you.
And I think you should put out a picture of a statement on your business. I think, and no, I don't agree with her information. There's a great way to get out of this. You're going to take every dime you would have spent to travel, and you're going to send it to the couple for their honeymoon. That's one. Two, you're going to also make sure to put a statement on your business website, on your front door of your business, that you don't support this. And three, you're going to get on your knees and crawl to your sister and beg her for forgiveness because you're an idiot. So no, Asen doesn't agree with this. Let's make nice advice.
I mean, I think it's the nicest way to have possibly stated that there's no options here. You've thrown everything at the wall when you should have started with, I'm not supporting your daughter.
Right.
And by extension, I'm not supporting you in this way. And fundamentally, I have to kind of agree. The only thing you've got left to get out of this is to tell the truth. And then you're out. Oh, you're out, but it's not going to end well. There's no make happy pretend, like this play pretend kind of idea is not going to happen. So and I think that's probably better for all parties involved.
Now, the next one, I hope you screenshotted.
Uh-oh. Okay, so my Am I the Asshole got taken down?
Yes.
Oh, no. Well, it's still showing on my end, so we'll see how this goes.
All right.
Getting ready on a poll.
Hey.
Oh,
We got commentary first.
Yeah, Brenda says that's his right to not support the marriage, but he needs to own up to being a bigoted asshole and face the consequences. Exactly. Like it. Look, I will fully support someone's right to not have to attend a same-sex wedding. I will fully support that your religious conviction or personal belief is that this is not something you support or condone. That's fine. That's great for you. Again, that's great for you. It's free world. You are free to believe that. It doesn't mean you're free from the consequences of that. Like, it comes with consequences.
Right.
Welcome to adulthood.
Yes.
Like, everything we think and believe has consequences.
And continues to have consequences.
What I really find objectionable is the fact that people want to escape the consequences while holding the belief.
Right.
It's sort of that moment of like, I want to be a good Christian, but I also want to cheat on my wife.
Mm-hmm.
Those are mutually exclusive. You can't do both.
Right.
Like, you can't claim both. You're one or the other.
Right.
So pick one.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get both. Like, these are
and
consequences.
own it. And own it. If I owned a brick and mortar store, there would be a rainbow. There'd be rainbow flags and poly flags and leather flags out on the building right now this month. Any other day, there would be a large rainbow sticker.
Well, and please understand that comes with consequences too, and we accept, like, we know and accept those. Like, right. Someone's going to throw a brick through the window. Someone's going to spray paint the store. Someone's going to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Those are consequences. As a business owner, you make choices.
Right.
Like, which one's more important to you? Showing support or avoiding an insurance claim? Showing support or having to scrub off graffiti?
Right.
These are consequences.
Right. But these are consequences we pay every day in our life. And I'm tired of these bigots getting ready to run around in the closet and they can't even hand me my fur coat.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Glad to know the closets are still being used. It's just the bigots have taken them over.
Like they take over everything else, but anyhow.
Yeah. Hope you enjoy the leftover rainbow and confetti. So anyway, moving along to Am I the Asshole? Am I the asshole for telling another parent she should have chosen a better partner? My husband and I were at a softball game for my oldest child, Sarah. We were off to the side, sitting in our chairs near another parent when Sarah ran up to us. She just said, "Mom, I've got 4 batters ahead of me. I just started my period. I need a tampon quick." My bag was on the other side of my husband, so he pulled one out of my bag and handed it to her. She said thanks and took off running for the bathroom. No big deal. Immediately after the game, the parent that was close by pulled me aside as she was upset and concerned about what happened earlier. I'm like, okay, but was confused about what she was referring to. Maybe I missed something while tending to my youngest child. Nope. It was because Sarah asked for a tampon and her father handed her one. She went on a 15-minute rant about how it was inappropriate for a girl to bring that topic up in front of my husband, and she should have pulled me to the side to discuss privately, and how it was even worse for him to give her the tampon. Sarah did not yell it or speak loudly for everyone to hear. The parent was close enough that if they were trying to listen, they could hear it. But what bothered her most was that my husband was the one that openly handed her a tampon, and that I didn't do something to get her what she needed privately. Said the entire situation was extremely uncomfortable to see, and that isn't something a dad should do. My husband won't even buy tampons from the store, as that's something for girls and nothing he should be involved with. I just said to her there was nothing wrong with what had happened. It's a natural bodily function, and it's a parent's job to provide for their children, no matter if they are the mom or dad. She then got very hostile and yelled at me. You should have picked a better partner. No father should ever be that involved with their daughters like that, and I would divorce my husband if he ever did that. Which, if overheard and out of context, you know exactly what others that could hear her screaming fit were thinking. Here is where I think I might be the asshole. My trigger was flipped, and I snapped back that my family does not have to do anything to ensure your comfort. I would divorce my husband if he wasn't that involved with our children, and I'm sorry if you have a piece of shit husband who refuses to do something as simple as buy a tampon for your daughter. Maybe you should have chosen a better partner. And walked away, leaving her to chew on it. When I got back over to my husband and filled him in, he thought it was weird that she felt the need to say that, but shrugged it off. When I got home, I called my best friend, 43 female, and filled her in. She said that I should have just ignored the other parent instead of responding the way I did, because you never know if their perspective was stemming from past trauma. I feel like if that was the case, they would have approached it differently. So, am I the asshole? So Brenda's comment, what century is this? It's not a secret from men. A dad takes care of his kids. If it's a girl needing a tampon, he gets one, even if it means buying one. Applauds mom's parting words. I say not the asshole, totally not the asshole. I don't think there was anything else you could have said in this situation. Like,
I think there's two words they could have said in this situation. Actually, three.
Okay.
Actually, I could make it into a whole 7, but that's just me.
Woo. All right, go for it. What is it? What's the 7 words?
I can't say it on air.
Is there a George Carlin special that includes all 7?
Yes. Yes, okay. There is.
Okay, there we go. So yeah, no, I don't get this. I don't like. Why?
What I don't get, and this is something I don't get, is I got teenage nieces. This should not be a big deal to anyone.
I mean, I know it's Pride Month and all, and this is inappropriate on a few levels, but I don't know how else to say it. Are straight men this much of a sissy? Grow up, dude. Are straight men this fragile? Really?
Let's ask the auntie. Auntie, what do you think? You deal with them all the time. Are they this damn fragile? Fuck.
You can't call her that yet. We haven't received the cheesecake.
I've already got the recipe. We can move on with that subject.
Okay, fair enough. Auntie status granted.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm just really? I mean, it's not that I haven't known of men being this like, I get that, but then to be supported by a woman for it. Oh. Yeah, so she says, yes, many are. Some won't even go buy them in Freecon, period talk. Meanwhile, I feel like I can hold my own on that conversation. Like I've got some pretty, pardon the pun, killer jokes on that subject.
Well, I don't get this, okay, and I'm going to put my foot into it.
I've predominantly worked in, predominantly female offices.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was no shielding it. Uh-huh. Like, there's no avoiding it. There's, like, I was the minority in this situation. I'm fine with that. I never got it to begin with. Like,
well, I don't get the problem. It's not that hard to deal with. It's quite easy. You stop and you pick up supplies. You hit the candy out. You hit the chip out. And while you're at it, you go ahead and pick up something decadent. Totally decadent. And you make delivery. You shut your mouth. It ain't that hard. Like, I don't get why men fuck up Valentine's Day. Now I don't get why men mess this up.
Well, there's an obvious answer there, and it's weaponized incompetence. If you fuck it up enough times, no one expects you to handle it.
I just don't get
it. Ding, ding. That's the winner chicken dinner answer.
Well, true, but at the same time, I don't get that because. Sorry, men go through periods too. Get over it. We know you bitches do. We hear you whine, complain, and fuss about everything in the planet and then get all moody and grumpy. Hand you a steak and you shut your mouth and go on.
I mean, not untrue. Like, come on, guys. You can do better. More importantly, women, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, this is how you take down a fellow woman who is supporting this.
Yeah.
Like, and I think the world needs more of that.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, I'll give up a year of Pride months just for women to show up and throw tampons at straight men. 12 prides I will give up. Literally, you can have a whole month where we herd straight men onto the sides of roads. You parade down the road in knitted vagina hats, and literally you take a t-shirt cannon and you just shoot tampons and maxi pads. I think this might solve the issue.
Well, I gotta check something real fast. I just thought of it. Where's her merch store? We got to check with someone first because I think she may have a copyright on it.
Oh, God. Well, and Brenda brings up the most important point is, more importantly, Joe, she's wanting to teach the young girl that she should be ashamed of the function of her body and a part of being female. Oh yeah. No, I'm aware. I was just having the moment of like, do we have to spell that one out? Like, oh, I get it. I just can't believe women are doing this to each other. I mean, I should at this point, but I don't want to. And I think it is only fair, and not the asshole, to fire back. may not be an appropriate response, but that's what I'm.
No, I think it's a totally appropriate response.
Because this is ridiculous.
But I have the perfect outfit.
Oh, you have the perfect outfit.
I do. Here we go. Straight from Mozilla.
There you go.
Perfect outfit.
Is it considered inappropriate if through the entire along the entire parade route they blast Baby Shark?
No, not inappropriate at all.
Okay. Because I think it would be a fabulous event.
I think it would be hilarious. And I think Malilla could be MC so that we don't get in trouble with copyrights. Because I think she made a whole line of merch over this.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Totally. All right. So on to relationship advice.
What questions, polyamory advice. What questions do you ask when you meet someone with a nesting partner? Preface. I, 30 female, have recently dipped my toe back into dating after being polysaturated at one partner for 2 years. Please forgive my rusty dater fumbles and feel free to sigh when necessary. The situation. I recently learned the hard way that I need to be more proactive in terms of inquiring about boundaries in someone's shared space if they have a nesting partner. To sum it up, I unwittingly upset the nesting partner of someone I briefly dated. The person I was dating never brought up what would be safe and comfortable for everyone when I'm in their shared space. Without this communication, I assumed staying over one night was A-okay, and I learned afterwards that it absolutely was not. Again, feel free to cringe and sigh at my oversight as needed. Unfortunately, it's not a situation that has the potential for resolution. I'm sorry to keep it vague. I have some hurt feelings that are dying to wheedle their way into this post, but I worry that indulging that would be self-serving. I'm here seeking practical tips so I can be better next time. I want to take responsibility for my lack of intentionality and learn from this experience. My questions. I'm going to ask some questions that probably seem really basic, but I've proven that I have major blind spots. If there is anyone here feeling generous and patient enough to share any insight, I would so appreciate it. And if you have any other food for thought about dating someone with a nesting partner, feel free to throw it in there. What questions do you ask when meeting a potential partner with a nesting partner? When you meet their nesting partner, do you check in with them as well about their expectations and boundaries as a sort of verification thing? Do you ask all these questions before you come into their shared space for the first time? Do you expect the person with the nesting partner to initiate these conversations, or do you typically bring it up first? Hi, I'm with Brenda right here. Hi. Exactly. Oh, sorry, it scrolled on me. There we go. Wouldn't you tell someone beforehand if they can't stay over?
I would have thought.
No, I'm sorry. No, you did nothing wrong. You did absolutely nothing wrong. You've been made the scapegoat in a situation that was improperly handled by the person you were seeing, not by you. You did nothing wrong. Oh my God. No. No. This is not how this works. This is not how this works. That is their shared space. This is part of their relationship. They set boundaries and expectations for each other regarding their other relationships. They, not you, are the ones responsible for communicating about those.
Right.
and being proactive in ensuring that everyone's boundaries and expectations are met.
Right.
You are not the one that is supposed to fumble blindly in the dark
Right.
for the multitude of things that could possibly be pitfalls in this situation. Because there are many. There are many. Some couples are not okay with spending the night. Some couples are fine with you spending the night, but for the love of God, use the guest bedroom, not ours. Some are fine with you spending the night, but don't cook in my kitchen. Some are okay with you spending the night somewhere else. Not here. This is our space. You don't belong in.
Right.
There are a multitude of situations and agreements. You are not the one that has to fumble through the dark to figure out what those are. The expectation, the reasonable expectation, is that those should be communicated to you.
Right. So, since we're in the situation, we've had overnight guests, we have comments to stay overnight and everything else. Let's give some basic house rules. One, stay out of my kitchen.
Stay out of his kitchen. Typically, if it's an overnight situation, it's either going to be a pre-ask before someone's invited over, or it's going to be an out-of-house experience. Again, usually pre-stated, but can be agreed upon later. And I'm difficult to work with. It's as simple as, hey, the date went really well. See you in the morning. Because what I really want to know is that, you didn't go on this date, end up in a ditch covered in petrol until the next morning when you appear. I prefer strongly just to know everything's okay, you're fine, and you'll be home at some point.
Right.
Preferably with a doggy bag containing cheesecake.
Right.
And if you've spent the night, I would not be opposed to breakfast.
Right.
I just...
Now, I'm the more complicated nesting partner.
Yeah. Oh, and for the love of God, we have furniture that is nearly 100 years old. Use a fucking coaster.
Yes. Use a fucking coaster. Do not cook in my kitchen. Do not talk to me until I have had coffee.
Fair.
No loud noises. Do not walk into a room talking, especially my rooms. Do not turn off an alarm. Do not let the cat out. The dog doesn't like you. Just get with it.
Yeah. He'll pretend to. It won't end well.
No.
Like the dog's an asshole, the cat's a bigger asshole.
Yes.
Do with that as you please.
Right. Let's see. Other rules. Don't touch me.
Okay, but is on which side? As the nesting meta or as the partner they're staying with?
Nesting meta.
Okay, just making sure. You got to clarify.
I'm not your dinner. Go get your dinner.
Yeah.
Yes, these are rules we've created as we found them necessary.
Yeah. I mean, most of them we thought were pretty apparent, but then, I mean, and again, it's one of those things that as this goes on, I'm sure more will be created by situations we never considered. And typically in the moment, we didn't consider that.
Right.
So there may be a hurt feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It's not unreconcilable.
Right.
I mean, let me tell you, seeing the sweating bottle of what soda I think it was,
Dr.
water,
Pepper.
Dr. Pepper, on top of the dresser. I have feelings, lots of feelings, all the feelings, because again, this is nearly a 100-year-old piece of furniture with a mirror finish on it. No!
Right.
For the love of God, no. And it has more to do with the furniture than the person who did it. It's like, put it on a coaster. Like we don't set drinks on that. No, that is not a place we set liquid things that can damage it. Like,
Right.
you cannot do that. I don't know where you live or what you have as furniture, but in the part of the world that has nice antique items, which technically I think that technically classifies as an antique now. Don't. Please don't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can understand if it looked like something that needed to be set out on the curb on Friday. It would be a safe assumption that we probably set stuff on it all the time.
Right.
And you would be free to do so as well. But I still, like, and my biggest trauma out of all of it is I don't know how you looked at that dresser and thought, yeah, I'm sure they do this. I'm sure they do that.
But we later found out they had no house raising, honey. I mean, point blank, let's just be honest. Where that's at.
I mean,
but
that is sometimes, I will say that's sometimes the interesting moment of, like,
right.
And that's why it becomes the person who is dating you, their responsibility to impart from their perspective, but their responsibility to impart house rules, is because the interesting part of dating is sometimes you bring home someone who is not housebroken.
Right.
And I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound insulting. I really, really don't. But my God, the number of feral people in the world.
And no, these aren't feral. I'm feral. I know you use a fucking coaster. Okay? No. They're unhousebroken. There's a difference between that. Point blank. But anyhow, I have a 200-year-old organ. I'm replying to a comment. I have a 200-year-old organ that still has the impression of a set of pliers on it.
Yeah, so Brenda says, until my aunt took her last breath, she never let Dad forget about the coffee ring he left on her marble coffee table. I heard that same tone in Asen saying, Dr. Pip.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No, I'm there. But, and this is technically, if you want to assign furniture to people at this point, it's mine. It's my dresser. It came with me. 200-year-old organ, we knew you were a vampire. Yeah, there's that. But no, like, this dresser is mine. I was just having the moment of, like, get it off there now. No, we don't do that. I wasn't at, like, you are banished from the house, come back when you have taken an obedience class. Like, I wasn't there. I was not screaming. I was not angry. Right. I was not furious. It was like, will you please not do that again?
Right. We've never done that. We've never done that. And nobody should do that. Nor was it a, you're not allowed to see him again moment.
Oh, yeah, no. It's like, these are fixable things.
Right.
If you, like, and more importantly, if I were gonna be angry at someone, your date, your responsibility.
Exactly.
So if anything, I'm gonna be mad at my nesting partner who is dating you, because your date, your responsibility.
Uh-huh.
Like, this is how this works. They are not responsible for what they don't know.
I know.
You are, because you know.
Exactly. But no, I'm trying to think of a situation. Like, okay, let's go out down these questions and answer them from our perspective as the meta.
All right. So, what questions do you ask when you meet a potential partner with a nesting partner? That's question one.
What availability do you have? What is free ground?
Okay. I think in there, if you want to be proactive and guide the conversation, maybe go, are there any house rules I need to know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that should be basically all you should have to do is prompt it. Right. Just in case someone forgot.
Right.
Like, you are entering, before you enter the space or as you enter the space, what's the house rules?
Right.
I think that's fair. Or at that moment in which it goes from, like, you went over for drinks after the date, you decided to go chill after the whatever, that might be a good time to try to remember to ask if they haven't brought it up. If it feels like this is getting a little hot and heavy, what's the house rules?
Right.
That's you, and that's if you decide to do that. Otherwise, I mean, that's on them.
Right.
That's on them.
What I don't get from this situation is how does the dating partner not know that it's not okay to have someone over that night?
Again, your partner, your responsibility. Yeah. And if you're not supposed to do that, don't do that. That's no reason for the other partner to be mad at their meta.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know better. Right. Now their partner, right. That's fair game for chewing out of what the fuck was that.
Right.
But not a veto. On its own, that's not a veto item. That's a get your shit together. Right. This isn't how this works.
Right. And fix your shit. That's normally my comment. Fix your shit. He's in my kitchen. Come get your puppy.
You say this like you've had to say that to me.
Not you.
I know. I wanted to point that out for everyone. This has not been a me problem. All right, so when you meet their nesting partner, do you check in with them as well about their expectations and boundaries as a sort of verification thing?
I think you should have already met the nesting partner or at least had a conversation with them.
I'm okay with you haven't met the nesting partner. I think conversations are great and should always be encouraged. I don't think it's reasonable to expect you to go through and do like a verification.
Right.
Like, this is an employment. Like, you know, if they forgot something or they didn't tell you something or they said it a little different than the other, this isn't, you know, you're not applying to the FBI, okay?
Right.
Like, now, I do think it's a good litmus test, I would say, and maybe this is a little gamey of me, is do have an awareness. Right. If you see a situation in which the person you're dating told you one thing, and then this turns into a problem with the nesting partner because it's totally different. More so from a perspective of now you know that this is someone who may manipulate information in situations for their advantage. So that's kind of a red flag for you.
Mm-hmm.
But no, this is not the FBI, and this is not a background check.
Right.
You don't have to, confirm everything they've said or told you.
Right.
Typically, that goes pretty on its own. When you meet the nesting partner.
Right.
Because if this isn't what this is supposed to be, you're going to find out.
Quickly.
Yeah, if it turns out that you are not a poly partner, but are instead a fair partner, you are going to find out quickly without saying much.
Right. The other part of that I'm going to say is, don't get weird when you meet the metas. Please don't get weird.
Like, it shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be uncomfortable. And I think that sometimes the bigger thing is, are you making yourself uncomfortable, or do you feel like their nesting partner or any partner they have is going out of their way to make you uncomfortable? Those are key words: make you uncomfortable. Again, that's a red flag about their relationship and your proximity to it. And do you want to even proceed?
Right.
Because if the metas cannot, be decent hosts,
right,
and we have a decent host guest relationship,
right,
this is a problem.
It is. It's a big problem.
And it's probably a very large indicator of problems within that relationship.
Right. And you need to ask yourself, are you ready to take on that level of red flag? Yeah. And then the other part, I think that there should be when, you've got, and it depends on if it's parallelogram, it shouldn't be going on. But if it's kitchen table, expect a dinner or a breakfast because it's going to occur. Have very conversation. Most likely, you're going to have things in common with the other people at that table.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how that happens.
I know.
But no, I mean, seriously, when two people date someone, it's not uncommon for them to have things in common besides the person they are or have dated.
Right.
Like, I feel like sometimes we're, like some people date people that are totally different. That's sometimes a switch flip. Is like, I figured out what was wrong with who I was dating. I went a different direction. Right. But even at that, you're going to see overlap. And it's kind of like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. It's like, oh, great. After breakfast, let's all have a Star Trek convention.
Or, take our ADHD meds. I'm just saying. I'm saying jokes about this, but it's not untrue.
Yes. It's not untrue. It's not untrue. It's not like it's not happened in this house.
All right. So the next question is, do you ask all of these questions before you come into their shared space for the first time? Okay, here's how I want to deal with this one. Ideally, you will have a conversation before you enter the shared space, either preempted by you with a question or given, started by the person you're dating. Ideally, this would all happen before you get to the space.
Right.
Ideally. I keep wanting to emphasize the words ideally. A lot of things in polyamory and dating in general are, in an ideal world, this is how this would go.
Right.
Sometimes it gets a little wibbly wobbly.
Well, and sometimes it gets different. And what I mean by that is, like, I have one of my comments that literally, who's home? What do you mean, who's home? Well, who's going to be home when I'm there? Is Joe going to be there? Because if so, I need to bring my computer. And I'm like, are you coming to see me or get your computer worked on? Well, both.
Column A, column B.
Uh-huh.
Like, no, and I'm fine with it. It's fine. Like,
right.
I'm all about some utilitarian visiting. 2 birds, 1 stone. That's awesome. But no, I mean, it does. It can sometimes feel awkward when you have a nesting partner situation and someone's coming into it. And with the variety of couples and boundaries, it's understandable.
Exactly.
But once you get like a general gist of it and what the situation is,
mm-hmm.
then it comes down to, if you're still uncomfortable, this isn't the dating situation for you.
Right.
Doesn't mean you can't be poly. Doesn't mean that it will never work. It just means you going into the shared space, probably a bad idea. So you may want to look at alternatives and different ways of doing that and trying to facilitate some comfort, especially if you've been in a situation like this where you got hit with a wrecking ball.
Right.
Because basically, I feel like the situation, OP got called out as home wrecker.
Right.
Or close enough to it that it's like,
no,
this is not your responsibility. You should know better.
Right. It's your fault. Nope.
You didn't cause this. Like, this is a fully grown adult who has options.
Right.
They made choices that were incompatible with the understanding they should have had with their nesting partner. So many things could have possibly gone wrong here.
Right.
None of which are your fault.
Right.
I mean, assuming you didn't jump in the closet and dresser and put on their clothes.
Right.
Grab their sex toy and have fun.
Right.
Because I think that would generally fall in the category of, you should know better. Right. You should know better. That's not cool.
But you bring up a great point. Have your own overnight bag.
Yes, please. For the love of God, anyone dating, if you think you're going to possibly ever end up at someone's house,
right,
need an overnight bag and put it in the car.
Right.
It doesn't have to be the best things you've ever owned. It does not have to be the wildest, most impressive outfits. It does not have to be a full makeup set. Basics: toothbrush, toothpaste, the ability to look like you did not get drug out of a club and now have magically made it home. Just enough to get you through.
Right. Exactly. All right, let's go check and see if you're the asshole, which I doubt it. And no, you are not the asshole.
I feel shocked and surprised. Shocked and surprised. No.
Oh, just take your bow.
Not the asshole. Yay!
Yay. All right. So, guys, I've got a very busy Friday, as I normally do. I'll be on the network for a little bit, maybe not. We will see where we head to. And then I will be doing some Second Life stuff. So if you're in SL, boiler room, it's a leather night. Get your leather on. And then we will be back on this network 5 o'clock Sunday. Now I'm going to try to do a TikTok live tomorrow. We will see how that works out, because you know how these weekends are going. With that, however, we do want to thank all the people that make all this wonderness possible. By the way, if you're a Patreon, you've already heard my sets. They're posted up in the Patreon.
Ooh, yes. Brenda says good playlists.
Yes.
Yes. Always worth checking out. So, of course, we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda, Joan Owens, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Charles Shaw, Tracy Van, Caitlin Bell, and Devin. you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas receive, please visit us at pcsbnetwork.com.
Yes. And with that, y'all, good night. I'll see you 5 o'clock Sunday with your planners. Let's get a profitable week together. Bye, y'all.
Bye.